Ask Google about Temu's ethical credentials and you'll be greeted with article after article from supposedly authoritative publishers and journalists stating that Temu is ethical, far better than its competitor Shein, and that you can have the same ultra-convenient and ultra-cheap shopping experience without the guilt. Why then does Temu appear at the very bottom of both our high street clothing and ethical jeans shopping guides, scoring 0 across the board? It's also listed as one of our brands to avoid. In this video, we look into Temu's policies, or rather lack of policies, across our ethical categories, and delve into the murky world of what well may be AI-generated greenwashing. Temu claims to be a mere marketplace, a digital interface that allows consumers to buy directly from its producers, more comparable to eBay than, say, Next. But we don't agree that this means they can avoid responsibility for what is sold there. That's why we've rated them this way across our ethical categories. We'll take you through some of the categories we rate companies on and tell you just how good or bad Temu does. Temu received an appallingly bad 0 out of 100 in our climate category. When researching what Temu and parent company PDD Holdings Inc. were doing to tackle climate change, we found no emissions reports and no targets in line with international agreements. We did, however, find this misleading statement on Temu's website, which has since been removed. Social responsibility is one of Temu's core values. One of the ways that we show our commitment is through environmental sustainability. For example, for every delivery made on Temu, we offset carbon emissions so that we compensate for our carbon footprint and do our part to protect the planet. This statement suggests that merely offsetting delivery emissions compensated for the carbon emissions of the whole company. If you're new to the world of carbon offsets and are unsure why this statement is misleading, head to our online guide to carbon offsetting, where we've covered everything you need to know about carbon offsets. We've popped a link in the description below. Or maybe this is something you'd like us to make a video about. If that's something you'd like to see, let us know in the comments below. Although Temu sells a large range of animal products like fur, leather, feather, suede, silk, down, and wool, they have no comprehensive policies preventing the worst animal welfare outcome for its activities in these sectors. That's another 0 for Temu. In December 2023, we searched the Temu website for information on the treatment of workers in its supply chain. Guess what? Temu scored another 0 as we found little to no evidence, reports, or policies on workers' rights. Considering the ultra-fast fashion nature of the site, that wasn't overly surprising. Ultra-fast fashion relies on exploiting garment workers. How else could a company sell an item of clothing for as little as £1.43 and still be making a profit? Surely this isn't possible if workers throughout its supply chain are paid a living wage. Even worse, some workers in the supply chain may be coerced into work, which brings us to our next category, cotton. In 2023, Temu was accused by a United States government committee of using forced labor from the autonomous region of Xinjiang in China, as some of the garment's material description on Temu's website are Xinjiang cotton. 20% of the world's cotton comes from China, predominantly sourced from Xinjiang, where the government is accused of employing forced labor as a method of social control. In this cotton-rich region, Uyghur Muslims and other minorities are coerced into cotton cultivation or processing after undergoing re-education. Although legislation is now helping to tackle some of the issues around Xinjiang cotton, a recent report from Sheffield Hallam University showed that Xinjiang cotton is still finding its way into international brand supply chains, as seen on Temu's website in 2023. To avoid forced labor and other ethical issues around cotton manufacturing, like water use, carbon emissions, or toxic chemicals, look for organic, fair trade, or recycled cotton options when buying cotton products. FYI, there's little to no evidence that Temu takes responsibility for its sourcing and material usage, earning them yet another 0, this time in our sustainable materials category. Seriously, why would anyone think this brand is ethical and sustainable? If you're interested in finding out more about which materials are the most sustainable and where to find them, check out the clothing shopping guide in this issue of our magazine. Or online, there's a link in the description box below. And subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you don't miss out on the videos we create every month about ethical shopping related issues. As well as more obvious criticisms of Temu's ethics in terms of the environment and workers' rights, Temu has also been criticized for avoiding tax. While the company's primary offices or headquarters are registered elsewhere, its legal address is in that renowned tax haven, the Cayman Islands. This has awarded Temu a grand total of, surely you can guess by now, that's right, 0 out of 100 in our tax conduct rating. Tax avoidance can allow huge companies to monopolize quickly. Are we witnessing the birth of another monstrous mega giant like Amazon? Ugh. How then, with all these zeros across the ethical board, has Temu gained the reputation of being the ethical alternative to Shein? We did a bit more research and found article after article applauding Temu on its ethical credentials. Intriguingly, the closest these articles got to evidencing their claims was via rephrased or simply lifted text from Temu's unremarkable 2-page third-party code of conduct, which is more or less the billion-dollar company's only public policy. These copycat articles felt eerily like AI-generated content, and although impossible to prove, our suspicions deepened when we prompted ChatGPT ourselves. It created a nearly identical article to the ones we read, concluding that Temu appears to be committed to ethical and sustainable business practices. Now, we're no stranger to greenwashing tactics, and we've seen plenty of greenwashing disguised as news before. Did someone say HSBC climate ads at COP26? But we've never come across AI-generated greenwashing, and quite frankly, it's unsettling. AI has the capacity to flood the internet with such content at unprecedented speeds. It took us 15 seconds to prompt ChatGPT to write that article, and another 5 seconds to ask it to write another 20 similar articles based on the same source of information. So who is behind this? Is Temu turning out masses of AI-generated content in order to fool consumers into believing that it is ethical? Shein has previously sued Temu for allegedly hiring online influencers to make false and deceptive statements about it. So perhaps now Temu has turned to ChatGPT instead. Or are content news sites ever thirsty for clicks and ad revenue, churning out AI-generated content based purely on the popularity of Google search terms? Whether it's down to unethical companies or simply in pursuit of clicks, the fact that authoritative-sounding publishing titles are willing to publish misleading information is deeply worrying and only reinforces the need for greater evidence-based accountability in the corporate sector. If this piece has piqued your interest, join us on a deeper dive into the topic of our recent web feature, Temu and the world of AI-generated greenwash. There's a link below. So after all that, what do you think? Will you avoid using Temu from now on? Was there anything that surprised you? Let us know in the comments below. And if you found this video useful, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more ethical consumer content. Thanks for watching, and remember, if something is unbelievably cheap, it probably means that someone else somewhere is paying the real price. Make sure to look at our ethical shopping guides linked below to find the most ethical shops to support with your hard-earned money. Thanks again, and see you next time.